Now let the beat ride.
Welcome to the High Chicago Sports Podcast. We're here today just to talk about the NFL season, guys. Want to make sure this is an NFL-focused episode, so we're not really going to hit on anything else in the sports world. But as you can see, we have Sean here. Sean, how you doing?
Good, bro. It's almost my favorite time of year. Football kickoff this Thursday, bro. This is bigger than any sort of wedding anniversary, bigger than any sort of birthday.
Wedding anniversary. Jesus Christ. I hope that you don't get in trouble. JB.
Right. You saw the way I was looking at. Good morning, Aaron. How you
doing, bro?
I'm doing better than Sean.
I see you got Patrick Mahomes in your background.
Yeah, me and Pat, we sitting here. I asked him if he wanted to come to the show. I was like, Patty, you want to see me talk about you today? He was like, yeah, bro, come on, bring it. Yeah, my boy Patty, he here. Patty, he crazy. He just standing there looking. But anyway, yeah, we just.
Anyway, and we have a guest on the sports episode, Mr. Adam Luebbe. I said your last name right that time, right?
You're one of the few who gets it right.
Yeah. He's also a Packers fan, so Sean's going to be a little pissed today. No, come on. No, okay. That's unfair. Yeah, like we said, we're going to make sure that we do focus on NFL today. And one of the bigger topics, I guess, has been prevailing all offseason is how the NFL season will actually look without fans. So I'm going to just give you guys a rundown here. Most teams have a set of rules that they're going to follow for just their first couple games. It ranges from no fans at all the way up to Jerry Jones' ridiculous plan of having a 50% capacity.
50?
Yes, 50.
Sounds about Texas.
Yeah, it does.
I swear to God.
I think that's probably the most ridiculous one. Some teams will have 25% capacity. Those teams are in Florida. And then, of course, Ohio just allowed Cleveland and Cincinnati to have 6,000 fans in their stadium. So my question to you guys, and I'm going to start with Sean, how will this affect home and away schedules for a lot of these teams, knowing that some teams will have no fans and other teams will be allowed to have some fans? Just for the start of the season, though.
Depends on how good or not good your home field advantage was, right? So for a team like Seattle, who's known for their 12th man, right, what's their capacity going to look like? And then will that advantage, or I guess disadvantage if they're not allowed to have the normal capacity, play to their strengths at all? And so I don't think that teams like Seattle, teams like New England, who have big home field advantages, are going to play as well at home as they normally would.
Okay. Yeah, I kind of agree. Those are some of the teams. The only teams that seem to have no fans are usually those teams who have a good fan base at home. So Green Bay, one of the teams that won't have fans at home. Who else am I looking at here? New England won't have fans. Seattle won't have fans.
Right.
Pittsburgh, they will not have fans in their first two home games.
Okay.
Yeah, my biggest issue I think that I'm seeing here is that it's an inconsistency, and I think it will provide an unfair advantage for some of these teams, specifically for Dallas because their home games are going to have the most fans, and they'll get to go on the road, and there'll be no fans, and those will kind of mess up the signaling, mess up the timing between these teams. And I think one of the ways the NFL is trying to counteract that sort of thing is by allowing this pumped in crowd noise, where I believe the max is going to be 75 decibels, which is like a vacuum cleaner up close. So I don't think it will truly affect anybody who's on the field.
True.
But it is, I guess, a way that they're trying to just make it more even.
Well, it'd be like the Colts did, right? So the Colts used to pump in sound all the time. So it'd be like playing.
I believe Atlanta used to do the exact same thing.
So it'd be like playing against the Colts.
Okay, but one thing I want to know, as far as the testing portion goes, and Adam, I'll ask you about this. They still haven't quite ironed out how they're going to do before game time, how that's going to work out. Because say there's a false positive, which I believe it was 2 weeks ago, they had like 70-something tests that all were false positives, and that could really affect a team on game day where they could be missing their quarterback and like their wide receiver to a false positive. Do you think that sort of thing is going to ever get ironed out throughout this season?
I don't see it really as being any type of a short-term fix. I think, as we've seen in baseball, they're taking the real safe approach to, even if there's a potential false positive, they're halting the game altogether. So I think the ultimate question is, if you have an impact player, whether it be a quarterback, receiver, like a star player on the defensive side, if they test positive before game time, is there a chance that the game is just not played altogether? The exposure that you have in the practice field throughout the week, obviously they can only go through non-contact drills to an extent, but you still be able to get practices in. So if somebody on the squad tests positive, what is the concern from the opposing team and the opposing organization that, you don't have more potentially infected players, running rampant throughout the locker room? So I think that's going to be a curious question is, not just does that player sit out, but is there a chance the whole team sits out? Or is there a chance the other team requests, that it gets rescheduled, and suddenly now, we're looking at pushing the season back potentially.
I'm not sure. And I think that was also a concern from a lot of people who sit on the right. The false positives are sort of affecting, or sort of affecting the numbers. But I am interested to see how the NFL is going to sort of tackle this, and I'm wondering if they're going to try to get more of those tests that can give you an answer within like 24 hours to sort of mitigate those false positive issues, and sort of maybe test the day before game day or something like that. But
or maybe they could do, excuse me real quick, Aaron, maybe they could do what college football is doing. You look at some of these SEC teams, they say, hey, you know what, we're not even going to tell you how many positives we got on the team. So, I mean, you could have a situation where the NFL teams.
Awful.
I mean, hey, that's what they're.
Why would you want that?
You want them to pull a Bill Belichick and not disclose injuries on the.
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
Why not?
That's not going to.
If Cam Newton is positive, I wouldn't say nothing. I would let him go out there, throw the ball and all of that, and then after the game,
and then we'll have the season shut down at that point. Like, what are we accomplishing in that situation?
They'll be more confident with Brian Hoyer, anyways.
They might be.
Actually, I think Brian Hoyer got cut.
No.
I think he got cut already.
Thank God.
Or he's very close to getting cut. I don't think he makes the team. But let's transition to another quarterback. And JV, we're going to start with you.
Please do.
You got Mr. Patrick Mahomes back there.
I have the greatest
coming off of one of the best 2-season runs I think we've ever seen from a quarterback, where he went from MVP to Super Bowl champ.
Yeah.
And the whole Super Bowl MVP thing, I think that should have been his running back. But
Damian Williams, I think it was.
Yeah, Damian Williams. He led that team, actually.
We riding with Pat Mahomes the whole way.
But he had 160 yards and 2 tutties. I don't know what you want from me, Sean. He should have been the Super Bowl MVP. But whatever.
JV, you agree with that? You don't disrespect Pat like that?
First of all, don't.
You're going to ask the man with Patrick Mahomes' background.
Right. First of all,
the Super Bowl.
Don't disrespect Patty. Patty is here to be a support for me. But let me tell you, Aaron, the question is, what's
he gonna do? Where is he gonna go from here?
Okay, so if you be quiet, you can learn something. So a few things that I'm looking for with the Kansas City Chiefs. We know what Patrick Mahomes is about. We know what he can do stat-wise. But I'm looking at strength of schedule. Right now in the 2020-2021 schedule, they are ranked 18th as far as strength of schedule. Last year, they were ranked 5th, and the team went 12-4 in the regular season. And that's also including the fact that Patrick Mahomes was injured. So not to say that because now that they have an 18th ranked schedule, which means they're somewhere in the middle of the road, that means that they give them any type of advantage. But that doesn't necessarily hurt Kansas City at all. So when I'm looking at Patrick Mahomes, when I'm looking at how great this man is, I don't believe that they're not going to repeat. I have them as my sleeper team to go back to the Super Bowl. I have them as
hard to have a favorite that's
freeze. Yeah, what the fuck? Well, hold on. Adam, treat us like, please. Adam, please. Because he called the Chiefs a sleeper.
No. What I mean by
he called the odds-on favorite.
Jay, hold on. I want Adam to go ahead and take the floor.
Go ahead. That's fine. It's okay.
Did he just call the Kansas City Chiefs a sleeper team? Did I hear that
Yes.
right?
Your ears don't deceive you, my guy.
Wow.
I misspoke. It's okay.
That's bullshit.
God.
But JV,
That's
Anyway,
I don't understand.
Anyway, let's get a different perspective on this because he's just gonna sit here and spit out Pat Mahomes stats. Sean,
Yes.
what do you think he goes from here? Because
Man, so I mean, you said he got his ring, right? Super Bowl MVP. He got the largest contract in North American sports history.
yes,
You know
sir.
what I'm saying? At age 24 years old, he put a ring on his girl's finger on top of that. I mean, for me, there's nowhere to go but backwards.
Yeah.
So
can
do I
understand
expect
that.
the Chiefs to not make the playoffs? Absolutely not. Do I expect him to be in the MVP conversation? Health provided, yes. But I don't see him repeating as Super Bowl champion. I don't see him winning MVP for the second time in a row, the second time in his career. But I do see him putting up 30 to 35 TDs, 10 to 15 INTs, Chiefs going 10-6, 11-5, and making it to the playoffs. But Patrick Mahomes' standard is so high right now, I don't see how you can meet that threshold again. To me, it's damn near impossible.
No, I very much agree. Adam?
I agree with Sean. I mean, the expectations are really sky high. How do you meet those? I mean, how do you top the season that he had last year? I don't know if it's possible. I think they're still the odds-on favorite. I mean, I don't think the new contract.
Not a sleeper?
No. I think
Stop it.
I think JV doesn't know what the word sleeper means.
I don't think the contract that he signed has really taken a hit on the roster yet. I mean, you haven't really seen them lose a key player from that contract. I think that time is coming. But they got a deal done for Kelsey. They got a deal done for Chris Jones on the defensive side. I don't see anybody standing in their way at this point. I do think that the additions that, Sean, you start laughing now, the additions that the Chargers made on the defensive side, the
Oh my God.
I think was really helpful, but the loss of Derwin James kills them.
Yeah.
Derwin James is one of the few guys that could probably cover Travis Kelsey one-on-one. You line him up against Kelsey, and then you add Chris Harris in the nickel corner slot to go along with Casey Hayward and Desmond King. I mean, they actually stood a chance to potentially slow down that offense, not stop them, but slow down that offense. I don't see that happening now. I mean, is there anybody that we think that's standing in their way other than Baltimore in the AFC?
But let me add on to that, Adam. I think that's one thing that I think the question should be different. I don't think necessarily Patrick Mahomes has to be this great elite quarterback. If Patrick Mahomes just continue doing what he's doing, that team around him is still pretty much the same that it was in the years past. So the question more or less is, can the rest of the league meet up to the Kansas City Chiefs? Because as you just asked, well, who is that other team, just to say AFC, who's that other team in AFC that you can say, you know what, all right, this team really got their number. This team really going to be that, may beat them. You know, we used to say that when Tom Brady was up in New England, but now he's down there in Tampa Bay. So it's like, who else could you say? We already discussed before we recorded how Deshaun Watson, who he's thrown to. So it's like, you don't really got Houston there. And then you do got Lamar Jackson out in Baltimore. So you can maybe say, all right, that'd be a good matchup. But again, it's for Kansas City to pretty much either have an injury-plagued season or for them to just think, oh, well, we're the greatest team, and they take the schedule for granted for them not to be successful this year.
Right. And I get what you're saying there. I do think that there are some teams that could match up well with the Chiefs. We'll get to those teams later on in the episode because they're one of my sleeper picks, and you guys will probably be surprised by my sleeper pick in the AFC. So we'll get to that. One thing I do want to talk about is the Chiefs added a running back this offseason to replace Damian Williams because they didn't add him to replace Damian Williams. Damian Williams opted out, so he will be the presumed day one starter in Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And thinking about him had me thinking about who are other players that could be primed for a breakout season. JB, we'll start with you.
Oh, okay.
Because I feel like you probably have somebody interested.
So knowing him that he has the Chiefs as a sleeper team, he probably has Pat Mahomes as his breakout player. If I have to fucking just guess.
I hope you understand what breakout means.
I Googled it. Actually,
you Googled the word breakout?
I Googled it.
I Googled it. Actually, my breakout player is a quarterback, actually. His name is Teddy Bridgewater, and he is the quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. Let's talk about Bridgewater. He went 5-0 as the starter for the New Orleans Saints last season when Drew Brees went down. This veteran quarterback, has another opportunity to start. And I believe he's going to take full advantage of that offense that's led by the elite running back, Christian McCaffrey. The expectations aren't necessarily high. The Panther fan base isn't looking for them to go to the Super Bowl. I mean, if they could make it to the first round of the playoffs, that would be okay. But Teddy Bridgewater, you think about what he was in Minnesota before the injury, then he had to, play backup for Drew Brees and kind of rebuild himself to who he is today. I feel like that's going to be a player that's going to have a breakthrough season that people are going to be like, oh, wow, they forgot how dangerous TV was, the original TV.
Did you just call Bridgewater the original TV?
I just did that for shot. I was just joking with shot. I was just joking with shot. We know.
Sneak that in.
So I don't hate the pick. I don't hate the pick with Teddy Bridgewater.
That was good research there.
He definitely has weapons around him with DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, and the offseason acquisition of Robbie Anderson. So what constitutes a breakout for Teddy Bridgewater this season? Like, put some numbers to it.
If I put some numbers to it, I'm saying, let's say he get anywhere between 20 to 25 touchdowns. If his completion rate is up in the high 60s, low 70%, and if that team could go at least get 8 wins on the season, if they could break even and get 8 wins on the season, I think people will be like, wow, okay, Teddy Bridgewater did his thing. If the Panthers lose this game, it's going to be more so they couldn't stop another team's offense, not so much that Teddy Bridgewater was throwing interceptions everywhere.
So if Teddy Bridgewater is the 23rd best quarterback in the league, that's a breakout to you?
To me,
that's essentially what you just hit me with in terms of
I'm
just trying to understand.
I'm saying I'm not expecting this is what I am saying. I'm not expecting Teddy Bridgewater to take this team to the NFC Championship. I'm not expecting him to take this team to the playoffs technically. But then again,
there's a lot of spots open, so they could get it. So
I mean that's true too. So I'm saying I feel like this is going to be the transition year for the Panthers. And as Teddy Bridgewater continues to grow comfortable in that role, I see him being the elite quarterback that we expected him to be.
Elite. Wow.
That's a strong word.
So wait,
that sounds like the 10? Flacco version of elite.
Will Teddy Bridgewater finish in the top 10 total QBR this season?
You know what? He just made. I believe he can. I believe he can.
No, not he may, not he can.
You know what?
Yes or no?
Breakout have to opt out.
Okay, let me think. When I think of the 10 best quarterbacks, let me think real quick. You say Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Deshaun Watson, Aaron Rodgers, and Lamar Jackson. I think I could put Teddy Bridgewater on that second 5. I think I can.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
Are we just forgetting about Drew Brees?
Yeah, I realized he didn't even say Drew Brees. I mean, that's crazy.
But one of them was 5-0 when Drew Brees wasn't there, and that was Teddy Bridgewater. The reason why the Saints made it to the playoffs last year.
He played an excellent game manager role. But
he did.
I'm gonna keep track of that breakout season that you predicted for him. Adam, who do you have as your breakout candidate this year?
So I really wanted to go with a quarterback, but I'm going to transition a little bit. I'm going to go to a tight end who just signed with the Atlanta Falcons in the offseason,
Hayden Hurst. Wow.
There you go. I thought about him.
I think everybody was forgetting that he was a first-round pick in 2018. I mean, he lost rookie season due to injury, and then he didn't really see much run last year because of Mark Andrews, bursting onto the scene from Oklahoma. The dude is a physical specimen. He's really fast. He's incredibly tough to cover, and he's going into a pass-heavy offense in the Falcons that are most likely, with their terrible defense, going to be trailing in a lot of games to where Matt Ryan's going to be airing the ball out.
Yeah,
I think that the Falcons have shown a propensity to include the tight end in their game plan
last year
by the monster contract that Austin Hooper just got. And outside of Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley, what do you have? I mean, is anybody
Russell Gage?
Really expecting Todd Gurley to show that he's the 2017-2018 version of Todd Gurley, or is he going to be?
I'm expecting those knees to fail. I'm expecting.
I got hope for Gurley.
Matt Ryan's going to be throwing the ball 55 times a game because they're going to be trailing by 3 touchdowns, and I think it's going to be a big year for Hayden Hurst.
You can almost say Calvin Ridley, too, could be a breakout player for the Falcons.
Yeah, he was another guy I also thought about, man. And I do think that Hayden Hurst does have an excellent opportunity because he's going into a pass-heavy offense that does feature the tight end, that does help him. And I believe the Falcons have the most vacated targets from this offseason. So a lot of that will go to Todd Gurley in some capacity, but it will also go towards the tight end that they just added. They traded a second-round pick for this guy. They're going to feature the guy. Sean, who do you have as your breakout candidate?
If you say Mitch Trubisky, I'm going to punch you in the face.
Boy, I fucking hope not.
Bro, if you say Mr. Trubisky, I'm going to end this call. God. If you say Mr. Trubisky,
fire your ass up because I'm
ready. Hold on. Let's go. Go ahead. You got the flow.
Aaron, the floor is yours.
No, Sean. It's your turn. Who is your breakout candidate?
All right, fine. Gentlemen, can I present to you the number 2 overall pick?
Oh, my God.
Mitch Trubisky.
Oh,
yes. For the love of God, Mitch, please hear me. Hear me,
Mitch, I can't read a defense.
Okay. No, let him talk. Hey, listen. Let's listen. We listen.
So he got named the starter for the opening game against Detroit. Okay, no problem. Nagy's praised him for his progression. Right, Nagy has said he had a better overall performance in his camp. Right, the O-line's got to be better than it was last season. There's no way they could go backwards. I don't see it happening.
I mean, they weren't the worst, but they could go backwards.
But he still was sacked 38 times. Now, mind you, right, his decision-making skills weren't that great. They were hoping another year under his belt will allow Mitch to make better decisions when the time comes. He won't overthrow as many receivers as he did last season. Okay. And Mitch had 10 games last season where he threw 1 or no touchdown passes. With Montgomery being out for the first probably 2 to 4 weeks, I just see Nagy being very pass happy again. But Mitch knows this is it. So now Mitch has that extra chip on his shoulders, knowing that Nick Foles is over his shoulder, not weak-ass Chase Daniel. And I think Mitch finally grows a pair of balls, steps up, and becomes that breakout player that we all know and love because I'm sick of Pat Mahomes winning, getting fat contracts. I'm sick of Deshaun Watson winning, getting fat contracts. It's time for Mitchie True to come through.
I mean, don't you actually think the added pressure is going to hurt him? I mean, they had to turn off all the TVs and radios at Hallis Hall last year because he was letting what everybody in the media said get to. Like,
he was mentally
fragile. I feel like the added pressure and everything that's going on in between the ears actually works against him.
No, listen. He's grown past that now, right? He went through some rough patches. He's a grown-ass man now. He understands his mistakes in the past. Mr. Trubisky's not only going to lead the Bears to the playoffs, but dare I say further? We'll find out.
No, let's not. Can I say this real quick to Sean? You know, guys, I got a chance to meet Mitch Trubisky a couple of times in Bears training camp, you know, when I was covering the Bears. And Mitch is a really nice guy, and I know we give him a lot of flack in the media sometimes because of his on-field performance. But I agree with Adam. I'm a little concerned about his mental state when it comes to that pressure. A lot of times, Mitch Trubisky, I don't think he's going to be a successful quarterback in a market like Chicago. I think if he was in a place like Nashville or somewhere like that where the media aren't really, you know, as hard on you as they are here in Chicago. I mean, but you put them in LA. Put them in a smaller.
They don't give a damn about football.
I'm just saying, put them in a market where the football team is like secondary or third dairy, where they don't really even care about what you got going on.
Wait, hold on, third dairy though?
Yeah, third dairy. Put them in a market
that's any NFL team in the state of Florida,
right? You know, put them in a place like that because Mitch Trubisky. Let me just say, I mean, the way the Chicago media come at Mitch is crazy. And every time he throws an interception, every time he throws the ball to the wrong receiver, they're gonna say, "Where's Nick Foles? Where can this?"
Yeah, that's gonna be that drum beat for Nick Foles is gonna be heavy, man.
It's gonna be so heavy.
Don't let him make mistakes. And what do you make of, Sean, the fact that it seems he can't throw with anticipation? Receivers have to be wide open. That's gonna hinder him.
Yes and no. So stop talking about Mitch Trubisky of last season, bro.
This is Mr. Trubisky since he's come in the league, though.
What we've seen from him on the field.
This is just
about this imaginary leap that he's taken when nobody's seen anything.
Yeah.
Listen, okay, understood. So what I have deep down, and maybe I'm a fool, but I have hope. Okay, my hope is that he just finally puts it together. No more overthrowing receivers, bro. He's gonna be poised. No more happy feet. Mr. Trubisky has learned his lesson.
When you draft a 6'7" tight end, I think, it makes it almost impossible for him to overthrow somebody.
Jimmy Graham's going to have a resurgent season. Okay. Cole Kmet's going to come through. Yeah. No, I'm talking about Cole Kmet also, right? Cole Kmet's going to come through as a breakout rookie, which is going to be solid. And again, as long as the O-line gives him time to throw, then I have confidence that Mr. Trubisky will be just fine. Not elite, not Pro Bowl caliber, but serviceable. And that's a breakout for me when it comes to Mitch Trubisky.
So if you're the Bears and he becomes serviceable this year, like you're saying, do you see the Bears signing him to an extension, or do you think unless he is elite, he's a Pro Bowler, this is it? Like how good does he have to be for the Bears to give him an extension?
Yep.
So 9-7, 10-6 as far as the record goes. Number one. Number two, more than 17 TDs, so more so in like the 25 to 28 touchdown range. Keep your interceptions in that 10 to 12 range. But show accuracy, show poise under pressure, show that you can command the pocket, show that you can lead us to victory with your arm, right? Make smart decisions. So if you factor all those together, which is a lot, asking for Mitch, then he deserves a contract extension. Anything less than that, Nick Foles it is, y'all.
Okay,
wait.
You got another question, JV? You're getting long-winded on the Mitch Trubisky debate here. Now, my breakout candidate is also a tight end, but this tight end has proven a lot more than Hayden Hurst has up to this point. And I got a question for you guys, and I'm going to ask it to this guy. I'm going to ask it to Adam. Through the last 5 games of the season, who led the NFL in receiving yards?
Guess as good as mine. But if you're going tight end, I have a feeling your breakout candidate plays for a team in the AFC West.
No.
Okay.
But he does play in the NFC West. Tyler Higbee. Last year, last 5 games of the season, led all pass catchers in receiving yards with 522 yards. That's 5 games. He's in a stratosphere with only some of the most elite tight ends for a 5-game stretch. Now, we saw last year the Rams had a lot of trouble on offense. And that trouble was only mitigated when Sean McVay switched to more 12 personnel. That's 1 running back, 2 tight ends on the field. The tight end that was chosen to be featured by Jared Goff was Tyler Higbee. Guy had 43 receptions, 522 yards, and 2 touchdowns in 5 games. It's kind of ridiculous to think that won't transition over to the next season. Now, if they continue to do what they did last year, maybe they give Cam Akers a little more run, or maybe they give Darrell Henderson a little more run. But those vacated targets from Brandon Cooks are going to have to go somewhere. And my guess is that it goes to the tight ends. Gerald Everett is a candidate to also get some of those targets. But Tyler Higbee, from what I saw those last 5 games, leads me to think that he'll have a breakout season that's akin to some of the more elite tight ends we've seen in NFL history. All right, his pace for the last 5 games, and I want y'all to hold on to your hats because I don't think people realize just how elite the end of his season was. But his pace was 138 receptions, 1,670 yards for a 16-game season, just based on those last 5 games alone. Tyler Higbee is my choice for breakout candidate, and I think that he could end up being put into the top 3 tight ends in the league by the end of this season.
What do you say to people who say that he is very inconsistent?
Well, he was inconsistent to start the season, but keep in mind he also wasn't on the field. All right, around about that time when they switched over to 12 personnel, his snap percentages went from 40s and 50s to almost 80% snap percentage. So he was on the field more when they were playing their best offense of the season.
Okay.
And I think that's something that Sean McVay has looked at, and he's probably going to run a lot more 12 personnel this year. And a lot of those targets that Tyler Higbee was getting last year, he's going to get those this year as well.
So I think you make an excellent point with the Tyler Higbee breakout. I think he's a great candidate to break out this year. My question to you would be, you lose Brandon Cooks. And while Brandon Cooks isn't the greatest receiver in the world, he doesn't have the greatest hands, he does have the propensity to get hurt. One of the things that he brings to the table is the ability to take the top off of a defense. You run the go route, you always have that deep threat there. When you lose that deep threat, it allows defenses to be able to play up in the box more. You don't have to run two deep safeties. You're able to play 8 in the box more. And you have Robert Woods, who's a great possession receiver, but he runs a lot of underneath routes. You have Cooper Kupp, who's great. His primary route is the slant. So where does that leave Tyler Higbee if you have defenses playing significantly more in the box without that deep threat on the roster anymore?
Well, my answer to that is you saw during that time when they changed it that Brandon Cooks actually played a lower snap percentage. They only had 2 wide receivers on the field most of the time. And those 2 wide receivers were my mind just went blank there. Sorry. Was Bobby Trees, Robert Woods, and Cooper, and a combination of Cooper Kupp and Brandon Cooks. So those 2 players, it's not like Tyler Higbee was only a result of keeping defenses honest with Brandon Cooks' speed. It was sort of a combination of both, and Tyler Higbee was still eating no matter who was on the field. But enough of the breakout candidates. I liked one of your picks because the other 2 can go eat shit. Sean and JB specifically.
Wait. You didn't like my pick? That's terrible. Okay.
You chose Teddy Bridgewater.
You broke somebody out to maybe be a top 20 quarterback.
Like, that's literally what you did.
You know what? That's fine.
All right. Don't say shit when the Bears are 10-6 because of Mitch Trubisky. Go ahead.
I don't see that happening.
Yeah,
anyway, but since we're on the subject of the Bears, let's talk about the NFC North real quick. Who do you guys think is going to win it?
Ooh, can I go first?
Yeah, let's start with JV since he has the least skin in the game.
Yeah, here I am. Okay, I believe that the Vikings are going to be the best team in the NFC. Not only do they have the best overall roster and division,
no, they don't.
They also
who are they throwing the ball to?
What are you basing that on?
Who are they throwing the ball to?
I like how y'all like to interrupt people.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Well, no, you said they have the best roster. What are you basing that on?
Okay, I was about to finish.
No, go ahead. Get to that best roster.
They have the best all-around roster in the division, and they also got a lot better when they got the trade for ex-Jacksonville Jaguar Pro Bowler Yannick
Ngakoue.
Thank you. When you pair him with Hunter, I feel like they have the best defensive ends in the NFL. Not only do you have that, but then you have Dalvin Cook, who is in a contract year. Remember, guys, he was talking about he wasn't going to participate.
His knees going to hold up?
Are
his knees going to hold up?
I think
I just
so.
want to ask the question.
When money is on the line, I think they will. So you got Dalvin Cook. You got the 2 best defensive ends in the NFL. I feel like the Vikings are going to do very well under the leadership of Kirk Cousins. Now, real quick, because you guys know that I'm truly a Packers fan. Wait, before you ask me a question. I understand.
I have a lot of questions about this roster, but continue.
I understand that a lot of people like to choose the Green Bay Packers based on Aaron Rodgers and his elite status, and I'm not disagreeing with that. We already know Mitch Trubisky ain't going nowhere. We already know that the Detroit Lions are going to be terrible always. But I feel as though when you look at the season that the Vikings had last year, their team did improve somewhat. Aaron and Adam, you guys know better than I as far as how great their roster is compared to Green Bay. But when I'm looking at the Vikings roster, you think Mitch Trubisky is going to be?
Yeah, Sean, elite. you got
to sit.
I didn't say elite. I didn't say okay. Go ahead.
You got to sit this one out. So on that note, I'm just saying I feel as though on paper, from what I'm reading, the Vikings are the best team in the NFC North.
Okay, so if you remember last year, they had a lot of trouble covering guys with Xavier Rhodes and Trey Waynes. Rhodes isn't there anymore. They're going to be relying on – I actually don't know who they're
second. Isn't Waynes gone too?
Yeah, I think Wayne's got his contract this offseason too. I don't even know who they're going to be relying on to cover these guys, but you have a division that has 3 of the best 10 receivers in the league, and you're thinking that the Vikings are going to have enough firepower to cover that?
I would put my money – well, again, keep in mind, they only have to outdo the Green Bay Packers. The Bears are non-factors, and so are the Detroit Lions.
And let me tell you something, too.
I'm not gonna
you
say
shut
that
up right now, bro. You shut up right now because
Okay.
the Vikings won't even have Kirk Cousins all damn season. He's gonna fuck around and catch COVID. You see, he didn't care about that shit
he sure
at
did.
all.
See,
Damn about catching COVID, so he's gonna be
he does
gone.
not care.
They lost a lot of key players on their defense. Stephon Diggs is gone to take off pressure off Adam Thielen. So the Vikings, the D line is good. They have really solid linebackers. I'll give you that.
Yeah, the front seven is fantastic.
So I'll give you that too, right? And Adam Thielen is a potential top 10 receiver. I want to see how he does without Diggs. We'll see. But again, if you don't have Kirk Cousins for half the season because he got COVID, then I don't know where the hell they're gonna go.
Okay, I mean, that's fine. I don't think he's going to get COVID. He didn't say that he didn't care about COVID either. Just to correct that, he just said what most Americans believe anyway, that it
most
is
Americans
what it is.
On the right.
Whatever. It is what it is. And if you get COVID, you die. Like he's taking it to that extreme in that approach. He's not saying
Ridiculous.
that I don't care for the coronavirus. He never said that.
Yeah,
that's the left wing media propaganda that y'all like to.
And one thing, and you know what, JB,
What's
I'm gonna play a little devil's advocate here because they
Sure.
probably have the best safety tandem in the league as well. Truly,
Absolutely.
So their secondary is not awful, but I don't know who their coverage corners are gonna be. And if you're having a problem with coverage in a pass happy league, I don't see how you can go too far.
I feel you. I'm not disagreeing with that. Okay.
And their
I can
receiving
see to that.
core is it's very thin outside of Thielen. So I mean, Justin Jefferson, who knows what he'll be as a rookie?
Listen, damn
he'll
the
probably
Vikings.
have to be an outside receiver, learn how to be an outside receiver in the NFL, coming off of being a slot receiver in college. So
let's hear from Sean.
Sean, let's hear this bullshit ass Bears pick.
Yeah, let's get Sean's Bears prediction.
Let's get. Go ahead, Sean.
All right, so I think it's gonna be a very tight race in NFC North. Let me say that first, right?
Okay.
But at 10-6, I do have the Chicago Bears coming out on top in the NFC North, provided a few things happen. No bullshit, right? Now I already said Trubisky's gonna break out. Cool. Check. We're actually gonna run the football when we get a healthy Montgomery. Nagy says he knows how to run the football. He's not an idiot. Okay. Man, Nagy said that verbatim. So we're good. He was an idiot last year. This year's different. Stop harping on the past.
Okay. My bad.
Check. You said Hunter and Ngakoue were going to be the best pass rushers doing in the NFL. Let me
no, he said best defensive ends.
Yeah,
that's why I allowed that. I allowed that
because Mac is going to be on the edge, as will Robert Quinn.
What did he do last year? What did? Oh, you said don't worry about the pass. Okay.
Yep, Khalil Mack wasn't great last year.
He wasn't great last year. He was 8.5 sacks. He wasn't fully healthy. Robert Quinn was a stud last season, and now Robert Quinn will be there to take pressure off of Mack, along with a healthy Akeem Hicks.
He's just
go there, right? Okay. And then the hope is that the defense gets back to turn the ball over the way they did in 2018 versus last year in their lack of turnovers.
But we know that's never been a sticky stat, though. Turnovers.
I understand that, but if we can get somewhere close, right? With an improved, healthy defense and an offense that's serviceable, giving me 25 points a game, then yes, the Bears will come out on top, 10-6 NFC North. Packers right there, 9-7. Rodgers doesn't have enough weapons, I feel like, to make it to the playoffs again. Don't discount Rodgers as a quarterback, but I think his lack of weapons this season is going to show off more than it did last season. Go ahead, Adam. I'm done. The Bears.
Yeah, Adam, what you got to say about the Bears pick, man?
That's what happened when you have crack and you have a baby.
Let me preface this by saying that I think the NFC North is going to be one of the worst divisions in football. It's not going to be the NFC least. That's just annually the worst division in football. I don't really have a lot of confidence in any team in this division. Fair. We know I love the Packers, but I still think it's the Packers' division to lose. I mean, it's 2020. It's a quarterback-led league, and the best quarterback in the division, until otherwise shown, is Aaron Rodgers. It's not Kirk Cousins. It's not Mitch Trubisky. Certainly not Mitch Trubisky.
Certainly.
It's still Aaron Rodgers, and I think it's a valid point that he doesn't have a lot of weapons. I mean, he has Devontae Adams, and then who knows what. I mean, I think they were counting on
Devin Funchess.
They were counting on Devin Funchess until he opted out. But they have a very, very strong running game. I mean, they use their second-round pick on A.J. Dillon, and I don't know if you've seen this dude, but he's got Saquon.
He's massive.
This dude is a beast.
What's the
tank?
Pairing that with Aaron Jones, interesting to see how they utilize the two of them in the offense. I like Minnesota's depth a lot more. I think their defense has a tendency to be very scary. I know you're talking about coverage corners. Aaron, they did use their first round pick on a cornerback out of TCU that graded out very well. Will he be able to cover Devontae Adams? Probably not. And as much as I like Minnesota's roster, Kirk Cousins has shown that he cannot win. And until he proves everybody wrong, I still put the Packers at the top of this division. Do I think anybody makes it out of the first round of the playoffs from this division? I don't. But that being said, I still think the Packers, probably at about 11-5, will win the division.
Yeah. And I agree. I think the Packers, contrary to what JV believes, have the best roster. Yes, our receivers are thin, but Minnesota has that exact same problem. We have arguably a top 10 defense, could be top 5 if we continue to improve from what we did last year. We have one of the best coverage corners and probably the best one in this division in Jair Alexander.
Mm-hmm.
We had the best pass. Okay, that was unnecessary, JP.
Oh, my bad. My mic's still on.
We had the best pass rush duo from last year. I don't give a fuck what you think Yannick and Daniil Hunter are going to do. We actually had the best pass rush duo in the Smith Bros.
Okay.
And let's not forget that the Vikings lost Everson Griffin. That's a huge blow to that defense. He came up big numerous times for them last year.
So I think the Packers have the best opportunity. They were 13-3, but we know, as Packers fans, we know that wasn't the realest 13-3 we've ever seen.
Right.
We got lucky in a lot of close games. 7-1, I believe, in games of one score or less. They were within one score or less. That's something that's probably going to regress back to the mean. But even if it's more of a 4-4, it's still a 10-6 season. And it's still good enough to win this division, especially when you got the Lions, who are probably not going to make any noise. You got the Bears, who are still trusting in Mitch Trubisky. And you got the most conservative quarterback probably in the league, in Kirk Cousins. All right?
Well, I mean, I'll just say it's everybody that don't know. I'm a huge Packer fan. And one of my best friends plays for the Packers, Jair. So, whatever.
So now he's your best friend. Copy that. Bro, this is news to me, man.
Y'all to know? Oh, okay.
Anyway.
Did you drop Cam from that label?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, no more Cameron Newton.
No more Cammy.
Let's actually talk about Adam, you said that you don't see a team progressing from this division. Let's talk about who you do see as a potential Super Bowl pick in the NFC.
The NFC, unlike the AFC, is so much more balanced. I think it makes it really difficult to pick a winner, and I think that's where the quarterback position plays almost as important factor as in the NFC as anywhere else. And I think that being said, I would say the Super Bowl favorite for the NFC for me is the Seattle Seahawks.
Okay.
I don't think there's any quarterback in the big moment that I would trust less than Russell Wilson. And Russell Wilson comes up big every time. We'll see if his 9th opportunity, Josh Gordon actually can stay on the field this time. And I think that brings it to them. They'll have Will Dissly back, who had a monster year before he tore his Achilles. If he's able to come back 80% of what he was, I think that's a huge weapon for that offense to go with Tyler Lockett, to go with DK Metcalf. Those are two guys that Russell can just air the ball out and find a way to get to them. I think an underrated sign in the offseason was Philip Dorsett. I think he has the potential to thrive in that offense, just because Russell will find a way to get him the ball. And it doesn't seem to matter who they plug in at running back. They'll find a way. So that being said, the NFC, my pick for the Super Bowl is the Seattle Seahawks.
Here's my issue with Seattle is they revamped their offensive line entirely. And even with a veteran offensive line for the most part last season, they still couldn't protect Russell Wilson. He was tied for the most sacked quarterback in the league last year.
A lot of that was holding the ball for him, though. A lot of that was holding the ball.
And Wilson played with no offensive line his entire career. I don't think that's anything he's not used to. They revamped it. Can it really be any worse than it was during his prime year?
I don't know how long he can sustain being durable, getting his ass beat every single year.
Well,
that's.
He's managed to avoid big hits.
He can't do it. You have to trust that he can.
I mean, that's fair. I don't hate the pick.
Sean, what's yours?
I mean, who's yours? Who's your
out of the
favorite?
NFC? It's not the Bears. Let me just be very clear on that.
Okay. So you're being realistic. I like to hear that.
Correct.
We like
so
you being honest.
the team that I have coming out of the NFC is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, baby.
Tampa Bay, huh?
My boy TB12 has something to prove, right? Mm-hmm. He's got to prove that he doesn't need Bill Belichick. He's got amongst his best set of weapons since that year they went undefeated with Randy Moss and shit. Mm-hmm. Mike Evans is a dog. Chris Godwin is a dog. Gronk already. Ronald Jones. They just signed Leonard Fournette.
Because it's not Ronald Jones.
They just signed Leonard Fournette, right? That offensive line should keep Brady upright, and their defense is, I think, kind of underrated. Mm-hmm. So I can see
it was a pretty
Tom Brady
defense
and the Bucs going 12-4. Again, chip on the shoulder. Brady is not somebody you want to fuck with, and I see them going to the Super Bowl. That's my pick coming out of the NFC.
Sean, if I could just play a little devil's advocate here. It's a brand new quarterback being installed into a brand new system that has historically not been kind to people in their first year in that system.
Understood.
And it's a limited off season on top of that, where Tom Brady has had to try to mesh with these other receivers. You see that being a hindrance?
No, you know why? Because Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback of all time, and he will figure it the fuck out. Okay. That's it. Everything else you said is true, except don't underestimate that part of it. Yeah, he's 42, 43. I don't care. He's still the GOAT.
Well, he'll figure it out. Here's the thing. We've seen in the past that it's not a gradual decline. It's falling the hell off of a cliff. And who knows, this year could be Tom Brady falling off of a cliff. So I'm just saying. Okay. Who do you have as your pick in the NFC?
Honestly, my screen says I was going to pick Tampa Bay as well, mainly because I cannot wait to see that Tom Brady and Mike Evans connection. I just can't wait to see that connection right there. Let me just put that out there. But, yeah, everything Sean said, I mean, he got a lot of weapons around him. I think Tampa Bay got a solid defense. And, again, Tom Brady, similar to, like, how we praise people like Aaron Rodgers, is just one of those quarterbacks that you just feel like are going to always thrive against adversity. So, yeah, you're right, Aaron. He has some adversity on his side. This is a brand new system. This is a brand new everything for him. In addition to the fact that he is old enough to be all our fathers. But in the end of the day,
I don't think Adam. I think Adam be a very young father.
Oh, okay. But at the end of the day, you can't really bet against TB12. And so for that reason, and considering the fact that he's playing in the NFC South, I mean, look at the other teams that are there. Other than Drew Brees and the New Orleans Saints, who else has got some competition for him? Don't get me wrong. I like what Teddy Bridgewater is trying to do in Carolina, but that's not going to be anything for him. So again, I see them winning the NFC South actually, and I can see them going all the way through and meeting Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs.
I mean, you're getting ahead of yourself, but okay.
Yeah, I just want to play that part in.
So my NFC pick is actually the other Cowboys team from that division. No, it's definitely not the fucking Cowboys. People need to pump their brakes on the fucking Cowboys, man. No, it's the Saints, man. So everything I said before, Sean, about this limited off season, trying to get installed into a new system, you don't have to worry about that in New Orleans. This is the same team. This is a season where continuity is going to matter more than anything, and no other team in the NFC has more continuity than the New Orleans Saints. Drew Brees, even though he doesn't go deep, we know that's the thing. He hasn't been able to go deep in quite some time, but he has been the most accurate quarterback the past 2-3 years. He's also got a new weapon, Emmanuel Sanders.
Okay, but the continuity's been there for how many seasons in a row now?
Look.
Did they make the Super Bowl last season?
They've had some playoff woes.
Was that like 2 years ago?
It was 3 years ago. But
okay, but it's been a while. was my point. So your continuity sentence made sense. We say it out loud.
It's a different season.
Bullshit.
It's a different season. It's gonna have different challenges. But I feel like the Saints have the most continuity. They have the best quarterback coach combination, not named Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes.
Yep, Patty.
All right. And the fact that they have added more on offense after having a pretty good offense last year with just one receiver, adding that extra piece in Emmanuel Sanders. People forget 3 years ago, before Emmanuel Sanders destroyed his fucking I believe it was his Achilles, he was absolutely dominating for the Broncos.
Don't bring me no stats from 3 years ago, bro. Fuck out of here.
Well, I got a question for you, Aaron, real quick. Before we talk about AFC, what's going on with the Saints and Alvin Kamara? We were hearing reports that they were thinking about trading him at one point. They're thinking about
trade. Yes, there's a report out there that there could be a trade on the horizon, but they would need to be blown away by whatever offer they get.
I agree strongly with the New Orleans Saints pick. My only situation with that is, even though Alvin Kamara is on their roster, I do not like what I saw from him last year. I think he took a major step backwards, and I think that's my biggest concern is, what Alvin Kamara are you going to get? Are you getting 2017, 2018 Kamara, or are you going to get the 2019 Kamara? And if it's last year, I think that's the biggest weakness in their offense, because they become one-dimensional at that point.
Well, keep in mind that Kamara was never right last season. So if he's healthy this year, I think we're gonna see that 2018 Kamara rather than what we saw in 2019. All right. I think the touchdowns he's gonna have tremendous positive regression in the touchdown area. I think that he's one of the best running backs within 5 yards. And I think we're gonna see that happen this year as well, especially if he's healthy. Now let's transition to AFC. And I want to know, JV, we already actually know your pick, but we're going to go with it anyway. Who's your AFC pick to make the Super Bowl?
I mean, let's talk about greatness. And it's right here beside me. Patrick Mahomes, the young 24-year-old that'll be 25 in a few days on September 17th. Yeah, just in case you guys want to celebrate the national holiday. I won't even be long-winded. I'll just say Patrick Mahomes. What more can you say? What more can't you say about how great Patrick Mahomes is? Everything about this man, his character off the field, his character on the field, just the way he throws the ball, the way he runs this offense, just everything about him, everything about this Kansas City Chiefs team. What more can you not like it? You talk about America's team. This is America's team. It's in the heartland. We can all identify with this team. Kansas City.
I'm not going to be long-winded, but let me go ahead and be long-winded.
Yeah, that's the whole point. I'll wrap it up by just saying it's going to be the Kansas City Chiefs season to lose. For them not to go to the Super Bowl, for them not to go to the playoffs, for them not, barring any injuries, if they come to this season with the big hand, because keep in mind, every time they play, people are going to have this chip against it. They're going to have the chip on their shoulder that we're the defending champions. And people are going to come at them hard. It's going to be like a playoff game for them every day. So every week, I mean. So I just feel like if they come in with that same mentality that they did with the young guys on the block trying to, make history, we're seeing the dynasty forming in Kansas City with the Prince at the helm, and his name.
Okay, all right, Prince. I'm done.
Okay, does anybody else have a pick that's not the Chiefs?
Yes.
Okay,
I'm gonna ride with Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. Right.
I am in agreement with that one.
It's Lamar Jackson's time. So Pat Mahomes has time to shine last season. It was dope. He killed it. It's LJ's time to shine now. It's a black quarterback takeover in the NFL.
Yes, sir, it is.
Lamar Jackson on the way.
Mm-hmm.
What you got?
Adam, what you got?
It pains me to say this, but I got to side with JV. I think it's the Chiefs until otherwise stated. I don't know who's going to stop that offense. I think Mahomes just pulls these plays out of his rear end that nobody else in the NFL can make. So I think, to me, it's pretty plain and simple. It's still going to be the Chiefs.
Yeah.
This is a young Tom Brady that we're watching. You remember when Tom Brady was buddy?
No, please.
Well, first of all, young Tom Brady was
young
a game
Tom Brady
manager.
wishes he could be Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, he was a game manager. Let's calm that shit down.
Okay, all right. Well, he's you know what I mean. He's going to be great, just like that.
Yeah. I choose the Ravens as well, Sean. So me and you on the same page here. For what reason? Lamar Jackson.
Who?
The best running quarterback in the league.
That's all he know how to do. That's all he know how to do.
That's not well. So he didn't lead the league in touchdown passes.
I'm saying that's the problem with those.
Did that not happen? Did that?
That's
what are you doing? What are you doing?
I'm saying
what are you doing?
All he knows how to do is run. That's all he does.
That's not all he knows how to do. Like I say, he led the NFL in pass touchdowns last year.
Okay. All right.
Let's not forget that.
I'm not gonna forget that.
And Harbaugh has already said the next progression in his development is getting that deep passing going. And they have one of the fastest receivers out there right now, Marquise Hollywood Brown. Now, I heard that he put 23 pounds onto his frame, and I'm not sure how that's going to affect his speed. Mm-hmm. But I do think that his deep ability is going to help him, especially considering last year he played unlimited snaps, and all you would see is Lamar Jackson just tossing him the ball. And Mark Andrews is also a beast, top 5 tight end in the league, amazing in the red zone.
I like Lamar. If he wins, I'm happy for him. I thought it'd be nice to see him.
And their defense is still good. Like, people forget that their defense is still solid, and they added a new linebacker in Patrick Queen. So sky's the limit for this team. Now, I do want to get sleeper picks, and we're not going to try our best to not be long-winded on the sleeper picks. So okay. NFC sleeper pick. We'll go start with Adam.
Let's start somewhere else.
Okay, we'll start with Sean. Sean, who's your NFC sleeper?
You already know he's going to say the Chicago Bears.
I fucking hope not.
You already know he's going to say it. Go ahead and say it, Sean.
Bro, no.
Look at him. He got the grin on his face. He got it. He's ready.
So no, I'm not. I'm actually going with the Carolina Panthers.
What?
Really?
It's sleeper, right? So Teddy Bridgewater, the same Bridgewater as last season, combined with Christian McCaffrey being an absolute dog. Right, the Saints got to come backwards a little bit. The Bucs would have to not be as great as I think they are. It wouldn't shock me for a 10-6 Panthers team winning a wild card spot and just making a run in the playoffs. No, it wouldn't shock me.
Okay,
wow,
I can agree with that.
What's surprising about that is Sean in the NBA episode didn't stick his neck out at all for his sleepers. It was a 2 seed, and a 3 seed. It was a 2 seed and a 3 seed. Those are his sleeper picks.
That's a bold take.
Well, let me give my AFC one too. You know what I'm saying? We'll keep it all in one.
Get your AFC pick.
Buffalo Bills.
That's what I'm fucking talking about, Sean.
Let me get the Buffalo Bills. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna win the AFC East, I think, pretty easily.
Yep.
Their defense is stacked. Josh Allen's arm is elite. So Buffalo Bills, be on the lookout.
All right, JV.
I like that.
JV, sleeper picks.
My sleeper picks would be in the AFC, the Tennessee Titan. I like everything about Derrick Henry down over here in Nashville. As far as the NFC, I would go, and this team isn't necessarily a sleeper team. I'm going to do it because Sean and I are going to do it. I'll say the Chicago Bears. If the NFC North, let me explain why. If the NFC North is as bad as we think that they may very well be, and if Mr. Trubisky come out here and have a great year because he knows this is it. This is the end of the line for him in the city of Chicago and the county of Cook in the state of Illinois. Mr. Trubisky, if he and this Bears team, and if that defense could be solid with Khalil Mack and them, I feel like the Bears could, like you say, go 10-6, go into the playoffs, and really show damage in the playoffs. So I'm glad Sean wasn't a man and didn't want to stick his neck out for his team. I'm going to say the Bears versus my Tennessee Titans. Tennessee, Chicago, put it in
both
February.
Of those are yuck. Adam?
So I think in the NFC, the popular sleeper pick I think a lot of people want to go with this year is the Arizona Cardinals.
Oh, you're going Cardinals.
But I don't like the division that they play in, so I'm going to pivot. And I'm going to say my NFC sleeper team is going to be the Atlanta Falcons.
Okay. I like that.
And I think a big thing, what we saw near the end of last year, is their defense figured it out. They went from a bottom 3 defense to a top 5 defense for the first half to second half of last year. I think they played their hearts out for Dan Quinn to keep him as head coach, and I'd like to see how that momentum carries into here. You can't argue against having Julio Jones as your top target. I think
that's true.
Bryant has the ability to get him the ball. I think Calvin Ridley is an up-and-coming star. You know my sleeper pick was Hayden Hurst. The wild card, the X factor, is going to be Todd Gurley. How many carries can Todd Gurley sustain over the course of the season? I think Falcons did a service by not grabbing a veteran backup running back. You see some that are on the market now. I mean, Lamar Miller just got cut by the Patriots. I think he would be a good complement to Gurley. Because when Devontae Freeman was out last year, that was a massive hole in their game, was the run game. But unlike Sean, I don't see Tampa Bay as being a great team. I see them being as a 500 team. So I think that makes that division outside of this team an easy division to pick a wild card team out of. So I'm going to go Atlanta in the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see the Buffalo Bills as a sleeper team. I think they're the favorites to win that division now.
But they're also at 30-1 odds to make the.
I'm going to go real deep sleeper.
Oh, this man, it's going to pick the
go
fucking
real
Raiders.
Deep sleeper. I'm not going to say Super Bowl, but they're going to be a deep sleeper to be a real good
team. The Chargers.
It's the Denver Broncos.
Oh, the Broncos.
Drew Lock.
Outside
of Hayden Hurst, Drew Lock was my breakout player of the year candidate. They drafted real heavy on the offensive side this year. Jerry Jeudy and KJ Hamlin to go with Cortland Sutton, who had a breakout season of his own last year, to go with Noah Fant, who once Locke was inserted as the starting quarterback, really took off. You're going to have a healthy Von Miller and Bradley Chubb on the ends, and you have an all-pro safety in Justin Simmons. I think the loss of Chris Harris hurts them, but we've seen what Vic Fangio can do with the defense, and I don't think there's any way their defense could be anywhere near as bad as it was last year. They play in the division, obviously, with the Chiefs, which is they're not going to win the division. They're going to have to be good to get into the wild card slot. But I think the Raiders are terrible, and I think nobody knows what to expect with the Chargers, whether it be Tyrod Taylor or Justin Herbert under center. Derwin James being out is going to hurt them. So I think nobody really knows what to expect for them. So I think that gives an opportunity for the Broncos to snag a wild card this year.
Okay. So he said that the Tampa Bay Bucks were going to be 8-8, right? A 500 ball club. So everything that the audience, you guys have heard past that, ignore Adam. He lost all credibility with that goofy statement right there.
All right. So, all right, let me get to my sleepers. So my NFC sleeper is the LA Rams. For everything I said, just go back to my fucking Tyler Higbee argument. It's the same thing for the Rams as a sleeper pick. This is a team that just 2 years ago made the Super Bowl, had a bad year, sort of figured it out at the end of the year. They can get back that fire that they had 2 years ago, and I think the Rams can definitely make a playoff run and even make a run to the Super Bowl. Now, my AFC team, I was going to choose the Bills, but Sean chose the Bills. So I'm going to pivot from there. I had a second pick, and I'm going to go with the post-type sleeper, the biggest post-type sleeper there's ever been. Last year's off-season team of the year, Cleveland Browns. They deserve some respect, man.
Do they?
They do. They signed Austin Hooper in the offseason, which will help solidify their linebacking core, which Njoku has not proven to be a solid linebacker yet. So having Hayden Hurst. Having Austin Hooper in there will help solidify that. Kevin Stefanski hasn't shown.
So wait, hold on. When did Austin Hooper and Njoku move to linebacker? I missed that position.
I said tight end.
No, you for sure said linebacker.
I said linebacker? Sorry, tight end. Apologize. Misspoke. Excuse the fuck out of me. Anyway, tight end. Anyway, Kevin Stefanski has shown a propensity to use the tight end position, to feature the tight end position. He runs a lot of 12 personnel. And there's something to be said about having an adult in the room when it comes to the Cleveland Browns. They have had some trash can coaches over the past 10 years, and finally getting one out there who looks like someone who's actually going to be a leader in that locker room, hold people accountable, it's going to help them a great deal, especially with all the talent that they have on the offensive end. Their offensive line has gotten better. They drafted I want to say this wrong. I believe it was Jedrick Wills. No, wait, that's the – anyway, they drafted the offensive line. I can't remember who the fuck it is, but they drafted the offensive lineman to help solidify that. They have a pretty good defense. Myles Garrett's back. He was also one of my breakout candidate picks. I just think the Browns are going to be an excellent team this year, and please don't be surprised if you see them at the top of the AFC. Anyway.
How much faith do you have in either of the quarterbacks that you picked for your sleeper teams, though? I mean,
I have more in Mayfield.
Market the biggest position.
I feel like I have more in Mayfield for sure, but we've already seen Goff make it to a Super Bowl. They've made it to a Super Bowl with Goff.
Did Jared Goff go to that Super Bowl, or did Todd Gurley go to that Super Bowl?
Does it really matter who was playing quarterback? That's what really matters. Who was playing quarterback at that time? All right. So that's all we have time for. I know this has been long, guys. Please give us your feedback. Let us know what you liked, what you didn't like. Let us know who your sleeper picks are, who your Super Bowl picks are. Leave everything that you can down in the comments. Don't forget to share, like, comment, subscribe. And until next time, bye.
Patty.
He said Patty.
Patty.
Patty Mahomes.